Do you know what significant events have occurred on this day in world history? December 7th. December 7th, 1941 was a day that changed the course of World War II forever. The morning began like many others at Pearl Harbor Naval Base in Hawaii, where sailors were preparing for their daily routine. At 7:48 a.m., however, the honking of Japanese planes sounded overhead, and the peaceful atmosphere quickly turned to one of panic. Within 2 hours, more than 350 Japanese planes launched a devastating attack, hitting not only warships but civilian targets as well. The attack killed more than 2,400 people and wounded many more. Ships, once a symbol of strength, fell victim to the surprise attack. Explosions and fires engulfed the base, and American lives were changed forever. That day was not only a tragedy, but a turning point for the United States. The next day, December 8, 1941, President Franklin D. Roosevelt asked Congress to declare war on Japan. The phrase, "This is a day that will go down in infamy," became famous, and Pearl Harbor has since become a symbol of resilience and unity. Americans united in response to the challenge, and thousands of men fought on the front lines. The United States began its active participation in the war that ultimately led to victory over the Axis of evil in 1945. The memory of Pearl Harbor is still alive today, and this day reminds us of the importance of keeping the peace and being prepared for the unexpected. Did you know about this historic event? December 7th, 1984 was a landmark day in the comic book world when the first superhero comic book was released. This comic book became a phenomenon that broke new ground in the entertainment industry. It introduced for the first time characters with unusual powers and fascinating stories. Superheroes quickly captured the hearts of readers and became part of popular culture. The public responded enthusiastically to the comic book, and its success opened the door to the creation of new stories and characters. Soon, other comic books inspired by the first appeared. Superheroes became symbols of hope and courage, and their adventures captured the attention of millions. Over time, superhero comic books began to be adapted for television and film. Movies based on comic books became blockbusters and captured the attention of audiences around the world. These heroes embody universal values such as friendship, bravery, and the fight for justice. Today, superhero comics are not just entertainment, but a culture that unites people of all ages. Comic book conventions bring together thousands of fans who share their love for these characters. This day reminds us of the power of imagination and the importance of believing in heroes who can inspire us to do great things. Do you love comic books? Write in the comments. On December 7th, 1972, an important event in human history took place that will forever be remembered as man's last step on the moon. The astronauts of the Apollo 17 mission, Eugene Cernan, Harrison Schmitt, and Ronald Evans, blasted off from the Kennedy Space Center aboard a Saturn V rocket. The mission was not only the culmination of the Apollo program, but also an important step in space exploration. Apollo 17 was a unique event. It was the last of the missions in which astronauts not only conducted scientific research on the lunar surface, but also collected many lunar soil samples. Cernan and Schmitt spent more than 3 days on the moon, exploring the amazing geological formations and conducting experiments. The astronomers were amazed by the variety of lunar landscapes, from high mountains to vast plains, and it was a unique time for science. Eugene Cernan was the last man to leave the lunar surface. His words, "We leave the moon as we came and hopefully return in peace," became a symbol of hope and humanity's desire to explore space. He emphasized the importance of peaceful cooperation in space exploration and the future of mankind. The legacy of Apollo 17 continues to inspire a new generation of scientists, engineers, and dreamers in search of new discoveries. If you like our video, give it a like and subscribe to our channel. We will keep you happy with other interesting videos. Every year on December 7th, Guatemala celebrates a unique holiday called Devil's Burning Day, or La Quema del Diablo. This day is filled with ancient traditions and symbolism that date back to the country's colonial past, when the indigenous and Spanish blended their customs and beliefs to create new, distinctive rituals. The essence of the celebration is to cleanse their homes and souls before the Christmas holidays begin. Guatemalans believe that the devil hides in the trash and old things that have accumulated throughout the year. Therefore, Families cleanse their homes in advance of Devil's Burn Day by collecting trash and unnecessary items, which are then burned outside. The central part of the holiday is the burning of a giant figure of the devil, symbolizing the cleansing of evil and trouble. This ritual is not only fun, but an important spiritual tradition that helps people get rid of all the negative things that have accumulated during the year. In some towns and villages, giant devil figures made of paper and wood are built and burned in front of the crowd. All this is accompanied by fireworks, dancing, and music. The holiday unites the locals in an effort to start the new year with a clean slate, free of evil and negativity. Interestingly, despite the apparent aggressiveness of the ritual, the tradition itself is filled with joy and fun. People gather as families and friends to participate in this cleansing together. For many Guatemalans, this is one of the most meaningful holidays, as it represents not only getting rid of the old, but also preparing for the bright Christmas holidays. On the night of December 7th to 8th, 1703, England faced one of the worst natural disasters in its history, the Great Storm. It began with unusually strong winds that grew in the midst of unstable weather. But no one could have predicted that the storm would develop into hurricane-force winds of up to 100 miles per hour. That night, thousands of homes were destroyed, dozens of ships were sunk, and thousands of people died. Contemporary estimates put the death toll at around 8,000. Panic gripped London as the storm ripped roofs off houses, felled trees, and destroyed even the strongest buildings. One of the most tragic moments was the wreck of the war fleet. Several ships off the southern coast of England were unable to withstand the force of the elements. This resulted in the deaths of hundreds of sailors and losses to the British Navy. But the effects of the storm were not only felt at sea. Land and farms in the countryside were also affected, with many crops ruined and buildings completely destroyed. Thousands of people were left homeless, while large areas were flooded. Historians believe that the Great Storm of 1703 was a unique phenomenon in Europe. Modern meteorologists try to study its nature and causes. In the 18th century, people did not understand how such catastrophes could happen and perceived the storm as a divine punishment. The Great Storm of 1703 was a turning point in the awareness of climatic phenomena in England. Its effects were debated for years, and it inspired new methods of storm warning. Its memory lives on in folk tales and historical documents, reminding us how nature can turn the lives of thousands of people upside down in an instant. On December 7, 1598, one of the greatest masters of the Baroque era was born, Giovanni Lorenzo Bernini. This brilliant sculptor and architect left a profound mark on the history of art and forever changed the concept of marble and space. Born in Naples, Bernini was trained from an early age by his father, the sculptor Pietro Bernini. At the age of 16, Giovanni's talent attracted the attention of the Roman nobility, and he moved to Rome, the city that became his primary creative field. One of his first significant works was the creation of sculptures for the Villa Borghese. One of the masterpieces of this period is the Abduction of Proserpina, in which Bernini's ability to convey emotion and movement reached new heights. Bernini's real fame, however, came from his work in the Vatican. It was he who designed the majestic colonnade of St. Peter's Square, which embodies the Church's embrace that extends to every believer. Another of Bernini's masterpieces is the Ecstasy of St. Teresa. Teresa, a sculpture in the Church of Santa Maria della Vittoria. Here he combined light, marble, and spirituality to create a composition that conveys the mystical moment of the saint's enlightenment. Despite his success, Bernini also faced challenges. His professional rivalry with the architect Francesco Borromini became famous in art history. Both masters worked in Rome, but their contrasting styles created tension. However, this rivalry only fueled Bernini's desire to reach new heights. Giovanni Lorenzo Bernini lived a long and prolific life. He died in 1680, but his legacy continues to inspire artists and architects today. His work remains a model of craftsmanship, and his influence on art and architecture cannot be overstated. Friends, if you liked our video, put a like, subscribe to the channel to learn about many significant historical events.